Okay, time for a video. For this week, we have 3 essays written by the same author. He's a student currently living in Australia, and he's hoping to take the IELTS test again. He took it quite recently, and he got 6.5 for writing. And he sent me these essays, and he thinks that he wasn't using enough complex sentences in terms of structure to get a high score. Now, you have to use a mix of simple and complex forms. Now, this is the criteria, which we've seen on several occasions. So we've got 6.5. So at least 6, you have to use a mix of simple and complex forms. But if you look at the key words, a variety of structures, a wide range of structures. So it isn't just about every sentence must be complex. You have to show a mixture, a range of structures, both simple and complex. Now, what the complex means in terms of the IELTS test is a sentence with 2 clauses, a subordinate clause and a main, joined by a relative pronoun, joined by a conjunction, etc. That's all it means. That's all a complex structure is in terms of the IELTS test. So if we take a look at the essays, we'll take a look, and I'll share it. Now, it isn't just that. There's a few things that he's done here, which I'll point out in a second. Now, he was thinking that he didn't include enough complex sentence forms. Actually, the opposite is true. Too many. Nearly every sentence here is too long and complex, with 2 clauses, maybe 3, and that's not what the examiners are looking for. So let's take a look at these one by one. So some people think women should be given equal chances to work and excel in their careers. Others believe that a woman's role should be limited to taking care of a house and children. Which opinion do you agree with, and why? So basically it's a to what extent, except it's asking you to, instead of giving you a single opinion and saying do you agree with it or not, it's asking which of these opinions, and then do you agree with, and why. So sentence 1, introduction. Over the last few decades, many conservatives have advocated that women's participation in societies should be restricted to look after both a house and children. Oh dear, this is what I'm talking about. This is a long sentence and there's too much going on. And now, first, it doesn't say anything about this in the actual question. It doesn't say anything about in the last few decades. Doesn't mention that. Doesn't say many conservatives have advocated. Maybe some of these people could be conservatives, having those kind of views that women should look after house and kids are typically conservative. But in the topic, it doesn't say anything about who expressed these opinions. Okay, so this sentence really, apart from being too long and complex, it's including information that's not in the topic. A simple restatement of the question is all that's required. I mean, here's an example here, right? Children today are too dependent on computers and electronic equipment. It would be better for them to be outside playing sports rather than spending all day indoors. Oh, it has been argued that children these days spend too much time indoors and that it would be more beneficial for them to play sports and other games outside instead. Now, there's nothing extra in this. There's no, in this decade, in these recent years, it is a phenomenon, a controversial issue. Examiners don't like it when you include those kind of generalizations. This one here, exactly say about improving public health. It has been argued, increasing the number of sporting and leisure facilities, blah, 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 but others would argue, blah, 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 blah. That's it. There's no, in recent decades, it is a controversial topic. It is a phenomenon. Doesn't say anything about that. All it says is, some people think this, some people think that. Okay, so that's all you need. So, I've got this overly long introduction. However, in my opinion, it skills to much test. So, now we have an opinion, we have a thesis statement here. Okay, that's good. Now, we don't really have an outline. This essay will discuss both views. Well, it's not a discussion. Firstly, it's not a discussion question. It says, which opinion? I agree with this opinion, and this is why. It doesn't ask you to talk about both. It's not really a discussion. It's saying which opinion, as in one, do you agree with and why? So you have to choose. Do you think that women should be given equal chances? I agree with that opinion, and here's 2 reasons why. No, I believe that women should be looking after the house and kids. A bit old-fashioned, maybe, but still, for the purpose of the IELTS, it doesn't matter. So I agree with this one, and this is why. So that's the first thing. It's not a discussion essay. The second thing is, this isn't really an outline. Examine a number of studies. Well, we don't want that. You know, for an outline sentence. Let me just have a look at this one. So this is the previous example of public health. Okay. This essay will argue that simply building new sports centres is not a viable answer. So that's main idea 1 for paragraph 2. And the key to developing a healthy citizenry is education, main idea 2. So education, just building things is not a good idea. That's the outline. So the examiner knows exactly what is coming. If we take a look at this children playing outside, I agree and will argue that good exercise habits are formed in childhood, main idea, paragraph 2, and there's a possibility of damage to health from too much exposure, main idea here. Okay, so all high-scoring essays have an outline sentence. Okay, so next thing. On the one hand, an overwhelming number of sociological experts, the main field of expertise, and is analysing, not analysing. I think you will find analysing means something else. How children are. Now, this is supposed to be a simple sentence to simply introduce the topic. Okay, now talking about an overwhelming number of experts analysing knowledge, this should be an example. This should explain your main idea. Okay, so apart from that, this sentence is far too long and complicated. So experts in my field of this, we've got a main clause, a subordinate clause, we've got an object, so 3 separate clauses here, and I'm not sure what this actually means. All we have to basically do for this sentence here would be to say something like, firstly, a woman's place is in the home and she should be looking after it and the children. Something such as that, just a simple statement. Then sentence 2, 3, these are complex. Now, if we look at some examples. Okay, firstly, so this is one about kids being outdoors. Firstly, it is generally accepted that good habits for health and fitness are usually formed when we are children. That's it. No experts or anything else. The explanation and example comes afterwards in sentence 2, 3, and 4. Additionally, as children's bodies are growing, it could be argued that constant exposure to computer screens and electronic games could cause eye damage. That's it. Just a single idea. What's another one? Yeah, here, this is all about what subjects should be taught at school. Firstly, as children are too young to know the future, it seems unnecessary to restrict their learning. Okay. Secondly, life in today's society needs social skills which are best learned or learnt in childhood. That's it. Relatively straightforward. And then complex sentences come afterwards. Okay. Children clean the house, family working in the clean house, if I get health issues. Okay, so sentence 2 is good. Example's good. Okay, but this introductory sentence to the paragraph, it's too long and it should be simple. It should just briefly introduce a main idea. And then the same for this next paragraph. A vast number of specialists who mainly work in recruitment processes concur that women are the... Oh dear. Again, that's too long and complicated. Just a simple thing. Now, so again, this is not a discussion essay. It's, you have to choose a side and then give 2 reasons why. But if it were, you would say something like, on the other hand, it is believed that women are valuable assets in different industries due to their ability for multitasking. So you get rid of that, and that would be the main idea. That women are valuable assets due to their ability for multitasking. Then you explain it, complex sentence. So attitudes and switching to passion, juggling priorities. Okay, and then a clear example. Okay, so that's the thing about that one. Some of the sentences are overly complex. Now, this next essay is basically the same. It's the same. So many people believe that Facebook has a negative impact. Well, yeah, it's a load of bollocks, essentially. But still, empirical research has shown, well, it doesn't say anything about that. Empirical research, it doesn't mention that. Okay, so what it should say is something like, some individuals think that social media can have detrimental effects. That's good. Clear opinion. Now this one's better. We have an outline. Okay, comparing yourself to the lives of other people. Okay, and face-to-face interactions have been diminished. Okay, so this one is better. We have an outline sentence, and then an overwhelming number of psychological specialists. Blah, 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 blah. Well, how do we know that that is true? It doesn't say that. I mean, this looks more like an example. So all that you would need is something like, to begin with, many people would acknowledge, or some specialists would acknowledge how Facebook and Instagram can provoke depression. So that's it, just a simple introductory sentence. Then, attention, okay, that's a complex sentence, that one's good. Then we've got a good example, okay, yeah. So this paragraph's good, it's just this initial sentence, once again. And if we look at this one here, again, the initial, analysing, it's not analysing, that means something else, analysing. So a vast number of sociological specialists whose main field of research. So you can see he's been using certain sentences he's got from somewhere, maybe from some website or something. But again, we don't need this. All that we need is a simple statement. Secondly, it has been argued the advent of social networking sites have been shrinking face-to-face social interactions. Right, that would do fine. That's it. We don't need this. Okay. Then, complex sentence, explain it, that's good. Good example, okay, that's pretty good. Okay. So, 2-part question. Sorry. So, empirical research, again, it doesn't say anything about this. Okay. Now this one's better though, because we have a clear opinion. and we've got an outline. So that is good. And then again, I don't know where he's got this expression from, but that's not, that's no good. We don't need it. Too complex. Look at that sentence. Look at that. I don't mean that I'd be happy it's pre-submission. Oh dear. Far too long and complicated, not complex in IELTS terms. So what you need to begin with, having money is not always the norm to make us happy. Now this next bit looks like an example. Priests and missionaries. So that shouldn't be there in any case. So the introductory sentence for this paragraph here should be something like, to begin with, having money is not always the norm to make people happy. That's it. That would be fine. A simple sentence. Then, complex sentence. Okay, complex sentence. Excellent. Then, the same thing again. A vast number of specialists. Okay. So, again, so secondly, aspects such as the culture, beliefs and traditions determine what can be considered as living an enjoyable life. That would be fine. We don't need this. And then complex sentence. Okay, complex sentence. Right, excellent. So that's what you basically need. So it's not about, not enough complex sentences. For these 3 essays, every sentence is a complex sentence, or a complicated one, which is not the same. A complicated one, as some of those there, are very difficult to follow. Complex means that there's 2 separate clauses. Independent clause, or a main clause, a subordinate clause, a secondary clause, however you term it, linked by a conjunction, a conditional, etc. Okay, I mean, if we look at this one here, again, nice and simple sentence, introduces your main idea. Relatively simple sentence, again, main idea. Relatively simple sentence. Good habits for health and fitness are formed when we are kids. Constant exposure. Yeah. So that's what would be better for these essays here. So we want to avoid the generalizations, avoid including things which are not in the topic, which are not mentioned in the question or topic. Okay. And then this is not mentioned either. We don't really need this. I mean, this could be an example, but the initial sentences are far too long, and we don't need that. That's more like an example. Okay, so we need to keep it simple, get rid of this, and the second sentences and the examples are fine. Okay, so I hope that was useful. I shall post these on my blog. The student has given me his permission to do so. So you can take a look at those, you can copy them, I'll write something about this, and that should be good. Okay, so if you have any questions, as always, you can send me a mail at kevin@prepareielts.com, and if you have any essays you'd like me to analyse, feel free to send them along. Excellent. I'll see you next time.